Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Ottawa City Commission study session for Monday, August 15th at 4 p.m. Start with public comments. Do we have any?
None today.
All right, thank you. That'll move us on to items to be placed on our regular City Commission agenda, which is the minutes from our August 1st study session. Commissioners, have you had a chance to look at those? And if so, all right to move that on to our regular agenda.
One thing on there, I think with regard to the discussion with the country club, I think it said that Mike Hyatt was here. Or was he online, or was he, I know Kathy, and was it Kathy's husband was here?
Yeah, it
Yeah, no.
wasn't.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I saw there tonight.
No.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Just to show you that I do read the minutes.
We appreciate that.
Sure.
We'll keep it moving that on.
Welcome to my life.
All right, that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Moves on items for presentation and discussion. First item is the Ottawa Municipal Airport hangar rental rates with Director Tharp. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I really come before you today not with more information or different information, more to answer any questions that you may have after our discussion last week. I felt like in our discussion that we had met some of the requests that have been made, and so if there are other questions or anything of that nature, I will certainly be glad to answer. Otherwise, we would appreciate this being moved on to a regular meeting.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Dennis Tharp?
I do not.
Are you okay with moving this on to our agenda for Wednesday evening?
Yes.
Wednesday morning? Morning, yeah.
Whatever it is.
Whenever.
Whenever
Wednesday's
you-
meeting.
Whenever you show up.
No,
We
not
can't start
just,
without you, Mayor.
well, you certainly can. You did last Monday, so. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it. All right, that moves us on to a recommendation to add 10 properties to the neighborhood revitalization program with Director Hall.
Good afternoon. I believe Matt's going to advance the slides for me. Or give me
I just got to bring it up.
Oh, okay. Thanks. All right, so we have 10 applications to present to you. These have all been reviewed by the committee and recommended for approval. 3 of these are new residences to new homes. And there are several residential remodels. At 503 North Main Street, it's actually a commercial building that's being converted into a residential building. And we have a commercial remodel.
Sit down.
Yeah, it's not.
Try to switch it on and off.
Chinese restaurant.
Okay, hold on. All right, give it a shot now.
Thank you. So this is just a map showing you the locations of these. Quite a few of them are clustered in the north end of town. Well, first one, 734 South Cherry Street. This is a new 3-bed, 2-bath home. And estimated value of improvements, $111,000. This is a new home at 720 South Locust. And this is a really nice looking home. If you get a chance to see it, I think it's under construction now. This one, 517 East Wilson Street, a new 2-bed, 1-bath home. This is a remodel, significant remodel, 1127 North Sycamore Street. And I'm going to go through these kind of fast, so if you have questions, feel free to ask. This is a residential remodel at 919 North Mulberry Street. Another residential remodel, 431 South Locust. Residential remodel at 736 North Sycamore Street. Another remodel at 825 South Main Street. significant remodel if you look at the estimated value of the improvements. And this is the conversion at 503 North Main Street.
Now, is that both buildings or just the one in the middle?
This one,
503? I'm sure what that.
this one is, I actually brought myself some notes, because this one I've gotten questions about. And, okay, so the current use, it's a retail commercial on the ground floor and residential on the second floor. The entire ground floor is being remodeled and converted from retail commercial to 2 residential apartments. Estimated cost of the improvements is $85,000. This refers to 503 North Main. I believe one of those is 505 North Main. So I believe
I think that.
that is the one being remodeled. This is the Zelda's property, being converted to a coffee shop, frozen custard shop. It's a significant improvement. It's under construction. And that's the end. One thing I should say, so this is, I believe on the agenda, or going to be recommended for the agenda for the regular meeting, but if you feel the need to see this again before it goes on a regular meeting agenda, it's not going to have any detrimental impact on anybody. The delay is not going to negatively affect anybody.
I might want to note that the Neighborhood Revitalization Committee actually met in person for the first time, and hadn't met for several years in person. So that was a good turn of events and an opportunity for us to really have some good dialogue around each of these projects. So, and that is a representative from the county, city, and the school district.
Right.
Is there good appetite to continue the program, you think, Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
Good. I would think by now some of these are coming onto the tax rolls fully after the 10 years. I'm not sure which ones that might be, but we've been doing this for more than 10 years, so I'm sure we're seeing some increased taxes as a result of this program.
And Commissioner, for the residential remodels, it's a 5-year rebate, so
Okay, yeah.
it'll come on sooner.
Those have been- yeah, sounds good.
So 2 questions on 503, just for clarification. On the back, it has address of property at 503 and 505 North Main, but we're specifically talking about just 503, correct? Back at page 34.
Yeah, I think. I'm a little reluctant to say for certain. I could bring back the actual building permit or plan if you want to answer that question, or I could, I could send it around, respond by email or something.
Just for I just want some sort of clarification there. That way if somebody were to apply for 505 down the road, but we thought we were only approving 503 at this point. So I just want to make sure. It's 503 on the front.
Yeah.
And then is it you mentioned 2 apartments downstairs? Am I reading that correctly? Because it just says converting space into 2 apartment areas for residential use.
Yes. So 2 residential apartments downstairs. So I think it's actually both buildings, actually. That's my recollection, but I can confirm that.
Okay.
That's,
So the apartments aren't going upstairs and keeping commercial down?
the new apartments are going downstairs.
Okay.
There's already residential on the second floor. It's a single apartment.
So how does that fit with our zoning laws?
Yeah, because downstairs normally we don't have zoning on the main level.
That is zoned for mixed use.
Does that mean you can have residential on both floors?
Yes. Yeah, we checked on that.
Yeah, it's zoned mixed-use commercial.
And are they still working on it? Actually, the estimated date was, completion was 6/1. I just wonder if they, because it's estimated, they don't know for sure when it's going to be completed, but.
You know, I'll be happy to come back and provide you those details if you'd like me to.
Yeah, let's get a clarification on this.
Sure.
Are there any questions on any of the others?
Like you said, we're not holding up anybody by waiting another week, are we? But I guess if we don't have another meeting until September.
But that doesn't mean we have to take the whole batch at once. We could take the 9 other properties and
Right.
hold this one over because, I mean, they're not all the same owner. They don't all come together for some reason. They just happen to be the ones that were presented in a group together. So I would actually think that we should just move the others forward and hold this one over. That's what I would be in favor of.
I'd be in favor of that.
Emily on?
Is Emily shaking her head or is Commissioner Graves shaking her?
I agree.
What I do like is there's some new names on here we haven't seen before. More people that are taking this program and utilizing it to their benefit for sure. So that's great to see. So that's what we'll do. We'll move the 9 on, 503, 505. We'll get some clarification on a couple of those questions and then have that up for discussion again next Monday. Okay. That's what we'll do then.
Will do.
Thank you, Director Hall.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us on to comments by our city manager.
All right, I have 2 things, and the first is to let Scott and Dan make a short lead and copper presentation to you about the next generation of federal regulations.
That doesn't happen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Wow.
Got a little.
Yep.
Packet.
Pass them along.
Yeah, if you would, please. Oh, there you go, thank you.
I got it.
So, as some of you may have heard, the EPA has set new regulations for our lead and copper rule. These regulations are in the form of a lead and copper rule revision. And in December of 21, they announced their intent to strengthen that rule. At that time, the EPA created what they thought was the first part of their plan to get the lead out of our nation's water system. And what they mean by that is they want 0 in the ground. They want water running 0, come in contact with 0 parts of lead. Their goal and ours is to remove any and all lead throughout the water system. We currently feel in town that we have very little, if none, lead in our water system. But unfortunately, the EPA, they don't go a lot on assumptions. So we have to do a lead service line inventory of each of our service lines in town, which as of August 1st was 5,383 service connections within the city of Ottawa.
So what does that mean? Do you have to dig up the front yards?
Some we may have to. Yep. But we're hoping to avoid that with some of the measures that we're going to present here today. This infographic here is just an idea of where lead service or lead may be present in your home. You've got fixtures inside your home that may have tiny amounts of lead in them. Depending on when your house was built, the copper may have lead solder within it. The area where I was thinking that we have mitigated all lead in our system is primarily from the water main to the water meter. Back years and years ago, we eliminated all of those, and when we moved them out to the terrace from inside the home. And then how are we gonna complete this inventory? Customer surveys, which if you look, what we passed out in front of you is a mock example, draft example of our survey that we're gonna do as a door hanger. Physical inspections, like Richard mentioned, we will have to dig up some of the service lines if they are unknown. Historical records, community development is a great resource for us to go back and look to see if anything has been updated, and what date that was. That will give us an idea of time frame on if the lead solder was used or when there was a lead solder or lead ban. And then plumbing permits. And this is a draft of what you have in front of you as the door hanger. Our intentions are to get these out to every single customer within the city of Ottawa, commercially and residential. And on this door hanger, we are gonna have a little instruction sheet that says how we can tell what your service line is made of, whether it's galvanized pipe, copper pipe, or lead. So what you have here in front of you is a penny, so you can scratch your line with, and if it digs in and it's bright and shiny, you may have lead. And you have a magnet where it'll stick to it if it is lead. And then a copper penny is you can compare copper to copper and get an idea. This is just another graphic of lead versus galvanized plastic, brass, and copper. And this is all the information that we are going to gather our inventory from, along with the surveys or GIS data. We are going to utilize our GIS map 100% in this process. Meter data, we will be updating our records, our current records, to show what our service line is at the meter and post meter. Record drawings and building plans for new construction, we will be listing those as well. In an effort to kind of enhance the way we do inspections and stuff, we'll be asking some help from community development folks to maybe when they're out doing inspections on new construction to go ahead and jot down, hey, it's copper, it's plastic. It just helps us move that process forward for the future. Just some other things that we can find out on our own is whether or not the single family structure, the multifamily structure, those things aren't listed on the survey, but we can figure that out through Franklin, with help through Franklin County. Who can help complete the inventory? The community at large. They're going to be the major player in this. The more community effort that we have, the quicker this is going to be and the easier it is going to be for everybody involved. Water distribution staff, even the finance department, meter readers, community development, which I've mentioned a couple times, they're going to be a major player in this as well. IT department, Matt has created the door hangers for us. He's also created a online survey that folks can go on if they don't want to do the hard copy. They can go online and fill it out there. Water production staff. And quite honestly, the seasonal staff next year will probably utilize a lot too for doing the kinds of things we're talking about. Open up those meter pits, looking at both sides to get the inventory as accurate as possible. Local civic groups, we plan on going and presenting the same very thing to all of our local civic groups. Realtors, they're going to play a big part in this as well, because during their inspections, they're seeing these water lines. They can see it where it comes in the home and what it is from that point forward. Kansas Department of Health and Environment, they've set a standard for what we need to present to them, and they've created a spreadsheet that we can download and use to help us. And then Kansas Rural Water Association is also a major player in helping us. And then youth organizations. we're gonna be reaching out to some youth organizations for some volunteer work to pass out these surveys and to see if they want to help us in collecting of the surveys. We plan on letting the public know by social media blitzes, radio PSAs, newspapers, website, our utility billing, whether it's a link or just a reminder saying, hey, fill out your survey and send it in-person Q&As, and email. What we're gonna do with the information after we collect it, which if you look on the survey, nowhere on it does it ask for your name. There is absolutely no information that is personal on that. We just need your address and what the service line is. But what we'll do with it is we've teamed up with an engineering firm that has created an app. And on that app is our very own GIS system that we use each and every day here already. But what it does is it gives us an idea of a quick look, whether we're compliant, whether we need to do more work, or whether we have a lead area. If we go through this survey process and we see a block or 2 blocks that have a bunch of red, we can save a lot of time and effort on surveys if we just go and verify a few of them. Then we can bulk add what that service line is, and then instead of going through each and every home. Like I spoke of, KDHE is requiring systems to electronically report the inventory. This program that we use through, it's called Inventory Ally, will let us export all of our information straight to the KDHE's format, and all we have to do is send it in. The deadline for this service line inventory is October 16th, 2024. So you may think 2024, but at 5383 service connections, that's going to come upon us pretty quick. So this time, I ask if you have any questions.
So where do you check, like where the line comes into your house?
Yeah.
Is that, I guess, the place to check, or is that, if it's flush with the basement? Well, I guess, I don't know, I'm thinking about my house, it comes out a little bit, I suppose. But, well, most people know how to check their own. I don't know how it.
Yeah, what we'll be doing is we'll be putting out information to all customers on how to tell. Whether if you have a basement, it's probably going to be coming through the side wall of your basement foundation. And at that point, that's where we're going to need to know what the material is. And then throughout the rest of your home, if it's been, let's say you've got copper coming in your foundation, but yet everywhere else is plastic, we need to know that. Just so we know that if for whatever, when we're doing our lead and copper testing and we test that home and we get a hit, we'll know it's not the inside plumbing. It's got to be something out in the road or out in the terrace. But if you have a crawl space, it's going to be coming up through the floor, what that material needs to be.
Scott, this is just for informational purposes, correct?
Yep.
You're not trying to find anybody in particular and try to charge them to redo their water line?
Oh, no,
Okay.
not whatsoever. This is a huge mandate by the EPA that states that we have to know what's in the ground, whether it's plastic, copper, galvanized, or lead. This is just their first step in saying, hey, we're going to do this. It's going to take some time, it's going to take some money, but this is the start of the major portion of it. And again, there's a big section of it that hasn't even been released yet from the EPA that states what we're going to have to do from here on out.
I only asked that question because I don't want to deter anybody from, if they get this door hanger or something like that, from filling it out, thinking there might be repercussions that, oh, if I say I have lead, then they're going to shut me off and make me replace it, and I just don't have the money for it. This is just for informational purposes.
The first,
Well, there actually is an option, which I would certainly hope people don't utilize. They can sign off and say, ultimately, none of your business. I mean, that is an option. but that does not protect them from lead if it does exist.
Does any of this have to do anything with infrastructure, the infrastructure plan that the federal government's talking about that might be replacing some of these lead pipes? So this month, so the benefit of filling that information out is if they find out that that house is, does have a lead line, that maybe down the road, if some of those dollars come our way, those are the ones that we're gonna take care of.
Yeah, and it appears that the state will be receiving some of those dollars, and they're proposing to provide help, not so much on the inventory, but not even on the inventory, if there is potholing and if we need to do some excavations to find out, the state is proposing that they will actually have folks, the contractors, I'm sure, that can help with that, and that'll be financed through the monies you're talking about, but that's all, at this point, no details.
So we've talked a lot about residential, and so what about commercial?
Commercial's included in this.
Okay,
Yep, every single service line that we offer utility to, water utility to, will need to be included in this. So we'll be marching up and down Main Street, asking the folks there, if they can help us out in this.
Is there a certain percent we have to have in? I mean, obviously, we're not getting 100% response on this. Is it like 95, the EPA okay with that, or what?
Theoretically, we need 100%.
We're not gonna get there, but. we have to-
We probably won't get 100% on the surveys,
Yeah.
but that means that we,
You have
as
to
a,
go out.
as a utility, need to go find that. Yep.
Is there a certain year when lead stopped, so that people who built a house in 1995 don't need to worry about this, or is it for certain
Yeah,
dates?
generally that date that's thrown out there is 1988. But then there's a later date when lead-based solder was made illegal. But as they like to point out in all the presentations we've seen on this, if you're a plumber, you got a whole lot of that old solder in your shop. You aren't gonna throw it away just because somebody said quit using it. So there's probably a gray area there.
What was the year on lead pipe?
88, I think.
it's actually on the back of the,
What's that?
Oh, is it?
it's like the third paragraph in.
And again, these are drafts. If there's something that you feel as a commission that we need to add or eliminate, please let us know. We're up for suggestions.
I like the fact that you talked about the opportunity to, if you know that there is lead in this particular home, that the likelihood that there may be some in surrounding homes, and that you can kind of block those out. So what if you are certain that the house is, that there's no lead? Do they get a hanger too? Is everyone getting a hanger?
In this first little pass at everything, everybody will get a hanger. Due to the fact that this is just the lead service line inventory. We don't know what 20 years from now, if they're gonna need, we need to know copper. So we'll already have that ahead of it.
On this hanger, it says that you can place it on your door when you're complete. Can an individual actually bring it to City Hall
You
too?
betcha. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. If they come in to pay their utility bill, they can hand that across the counter, and we'll definitely enter the data after we receive it. And again, there's gonna be multiple, there's another option. There's an online survey that Matt has created as well.
Well, it has a link to that, which I think a lot of people, I would hope would use that.
And for assistance, would that be your guys' people coming into a house where someone might not be able to go to the basement and check, or somewhere that they can't access?
There's gonna be situations where that will certainly be the case, yeah.
Yeah, if a customer calls up and says,
Someone who just, I have no idea where my water line comes from, yeah.
yeah, we'll be there to help them out through the whole process.
And I think, like the mayor mentioned as well, kind of put people's minds at ease. People get a little uncomfortable with city people coming in their house. That this isn't trying to find people who have done work that wasn't permitted and caused any, wasn't to find any of that, that this is from the EPA. I think that's good to make clear that we're not trying to like come in and find things wrong in people's houses. Right, this is for something mandated by the EPA.
Yep. The last thing we want to do is our look for those things. We want to get in and get out as quick as possible and find the information that we need when we go in, if we need to go into a home.
Tell me about applicability to individuals who are renting. They get this, it's a hangar, they're renting,
We would like for them to fill out the process. Because there's no name involved in the survey or whatever like that, we're hoping that they can just fill it out. Now, if they struggle with that and they don't know where their utility comes in, then they can ask their landlord and say, hey, can you help me out with this? And if not, we're a phone call away.
So I was thinking about like large apartment complexes with, like 40 units like we see out in the southwest part of town. I mean, it's all the same, I would assume, if they visit the landlord, only take care of this, or is that?
And the majority of those, like, take for instance, Sienna South out on 17th Street, helped lay that, so I know it's copper. So a lot of that, those folks, well, that will be a question for the landlord, that I won't be sending,
This on
We won't hang 40 of these.
there'll be 6 of them, but it'll be units 1, 2, 3, and so on.
Along with realtors, have you thought maybe it's with them, but like home inspectors, who will likely know the difference in the pipe without, needing some of these tools?
Yeah, they're gonna
And
play a
houses
big role in this.
inspecting.
We figure out the best way to get to them is through real.
Through the realtors, yeah.
It's a pretty monumental task, but I think we have a pretty good approach to how to do this. And it's nationwide. This isn't an Ottawa thing or a Kansas thing. This is nationwide, and there's.
I think another strong point to point out is that a lot of the folks that I put up there that are able to help us through this is city staff. There's a lot of this that can be helped tremendously by folks that we already have on staff.
We've started a lot of this. We've gone through, we've gone through with the county, we've gotten with the county and have some of those dates. What's built prior to this date, what's built after this date. There's gonna be some wholesale opportunities with certain areas that we know it's not gonna have lead in it. We need to establish that and document that, but it's not.
One thing I would say, do you think on the hangar, we could get the EPA's website? The link on there for the groundwater drinking, so that way people can go straight to the EPA's website to see that
Sure.
it's not just something that we're mandating, then go right to the horse's mouth.
Commissioners, any other questions, suggestions?
Thank you.
This is good.
For sure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So fill it out when you
get it.
Yeah, do you want it back now?
neighbors.
Yeah,
If
thank you.
I know one, yeah, do you want it now?
Thank
Keeping
you.
the penny though.
What else?
So, real shortly, I want to have a conversation, and bring you up to date where we're at our NIH, if you would please, Mike. We have received 3 applications, and there's actually, in one of those applications, there's multiple parties. So the review group is working through that, and the plan had been to get you to have a first look at this by next Monday, but I don't think the group feels, and there are at least 3 of the members of that group here, feels we will be ready to give you a first blush at that next Monday, because there's some other questions that came up out of the review. And remember, you have until September 30th to get this in. So you have some flexibility in your calendar, and if you have to, you can hold a special meeting. We just want to make sure on the review side that we're taking a look at this, doing our due diligence when we give you our ranking. And I think that's what we'll give you. And my question to you is, I'm anticipating that when this first comes to you at the first study session, is that we will give you the applications with a cover memo about what our suggestion is. Now, I'm just assuming you'll use that first study session to have a discussion amongst yourself, and you'll decide who you want to invite in at a second interview and make a presentation. That could be one, that could be all three of them. So help me, I don't ever like to make assumptions, but help us understand if we're going down the right road to help you out, because all this comes back to you. Is this what you want to see?
I guess my question is, what are you guys looking at right now that's, where you're trying to rank? What's your criteria?
Mike?
Well, there's kind of we created a checklist just to make sure that, we have answers to some specific questions. So those are kind of like yes or no, that they provided that information or didn't they?
And you might give some examples of what those criteria are.
Yeah, so for example, did they provide us sources of funding that we asked for? Did they provide us costs? One of the key elements of a successful application is the city's contribution. One form of that contribution could be NRP tax rebates. So is it an NRP area? Is it not an NRP? If it's not an NRP area, is it a candidate for RHID? So those are some of the questions we're asking right up front. And then the more subjective question is it the appropriate workforce housing? Is it kind of what you suggested when we talked earlier? Is it a substantial project? Is it shovel ready? Or can it be shovel ready? And sometimes that requires a little more information that they provided. So to just rank them on the information they provided, it would be a little short-sighted. And so this will give us an opportunity just to get a little more information and give them all a fair shot. And one of the other criteria, well, for example, one thing we need to understand is to what extent do they need some kind of assistance to make the project economically feasible? And that requires a little more information than what we received, frankly. And so that's the kind of additional information we'd be asking for. But we really got some good proposals.
Does it make a difference if one proposal offers 15 doors, another one offers 30? I mean, obviously we're in need of housing here, and so I would lean toward maybe the one with 30 apartments versus the one maybe with 10 or 15. Does that enter into the equation at all for us to consider?
I think it does, but I think that really is very much coming from you. Because, if someone's asking for a certain amount of MIH money, then it's kind of a return on investment, right? It's, what are you going to get from that subsidy? What are you going to get from our effort in going through this process? But also it relates to, can it be done within 18 months from the grant award? Because that's one of the requirements. And all that affects how quickly it can be done.
With them, were there any rezoning, any type of that application such as that would be another step that would have to be looked at?
So one of the proposals would require rezoning. And so that creates a little bit of uncertainty and some question about whether it's shovel ready or can't be shovel ready.
Well, I'll tell you this as an aside, after looking at these, you'll have an application to submit in this cycle if you want to. And I believe out of these, you'll have an application for the second cycle also. I'm not concerned about getting the first two cycles covered, which is a good thing for us.
Well, and that makes me feel better. And the reason I asked that question is because I didn't want, something to come in front of us that we like, but there's something there that just doesn't jive. So then we're not able to choose that project. So you guys are going to do some vetting to say, yes, this is a good project, meets all the criteria. You guys just decide what you think's best for our community.
And what I think Mike's going to tell you, while he's going through some of this and the committee will take a look at this, are those things. Hey, here's the things that might need more work on this application. But you have 3 here that I am pretty confident in as we go down the road, that all 3 of them could become projects. Would you agree? Those of you who were in the room?
Yeah.
And that's good news on short notice.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's been some discussion about that, but what I would say is this is a learning experience the first time around, and we have sufficient time to get these in by the deadline. And we're learning. Next time, we'll have a better knowledge base when we go out for the second round. So I just want to make sure we're on the right track and that this is what you want to see. And if there's anything special you want to see, to let us know.
Well, I certainly think you're on the right track. It's all good information for us to have, and certainly, as we always do, if there's any other questions that come up, we'll certainly ask them and see if we can get some answers for those. Commissioners, how do you feel?
I would agree.
Go ahead.
So,
Anything else you want to ask?
yeah, just, so next Monday, we're not presenting anything to you. We're still doing our due diligence. You'd prefer to have more of the information pulled together before we get it on the agenda. And then at that point, you'll decide if and who you want to get presentations from.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay,
Good. All right.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Director Hall. Do you have anything else?
No, no, thank you.
Move us on to comments by our city commissioners. Commissioner Kaler,
None at this time.
Commissioner Graves,
No comment.
Commissioner Clayton.
I just want to say, Mr. Tharp and I spent last week in Topeka at the Kansas Association of Trail Towns, and have some exciting news, hopefully, that'll be coming kind of in front of the commission. I think you guys were all on the email and kind of saw that. Had some really good communication with some other cities kind of along the trails that are running through Ottawa. Some good opportunities, I think, coming forward for some government funds from the state and federal government, hopefully, to help with the trails. Some different things around that we can do. So it was a really good day.
I'm glad you're interested and you're participating in that because it's a fun project. And it's one of those projects that reap tangible and a lot of intangible benefits for the city of Ottawa.
And that is it, other than that.
That's good news. Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore.
Just sorry for the passing of Jim Grogan. Many of you know the Grogan family. They've been instrumental in this community, putting us on the map for many, many years. And just our condolences to the Grogan family. Great people.
Thank you. And I have no comments except for, what motion would you like us to make, or for the executive session?
Attorney-client privilege, consultation with the board's attorney to receive confidential information. Try for 15, you may need to go back in for 5 or 10.
So reconvene at 5, right? Okay, yeah. So motion I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All right. We'll go into executive session.